Lou here from Inglorious Paintball, coming at you to do a video that I've been looking to do for quite a while now. Before I get into it, I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Ryan DeRose, the owner and operator of Ingorious Paintball, who sent me the marker I'll be doing a review of today. I guess I can show you. It's the Dye DSR. Big shout out to him. If you guys are familiar with the Facebook BST pages, he's always circulating new and used inventory, markers, gear. So I'm going to put some links in the description for the Facebook page, his Instagram page, some contact information, so you can check him out if you're in the market for some new or used merchandise. So again, thank you Ryan for the XLS and the DSR. I'm really looking forward to reviewing these. Like I said, link in the description for some contact information for him. But let's get into this. I'm going to be unboxing this. I know there's a couple unboxing videos of the DSR already, but I like to do one myself when I get a new marker in. We're definitely going to shoot this today. We're going to have some fun with it, but I'll definitely go over my first impressions of the marker and whatnot. So let's get into it. Let's adjust this a little bit here. There we go. So, Dye DSR. Get this cardboard covering, and then you have the DSR case here, so you can see it is DSR branded with the Dye logo, and you get your Dye sticker here. So let's open her up. There we go. Let's open this guy up here. First and foremost, actually, the case is really durable. It's definitely going to take that beating that it's going to receive in your gear bag when you're traveling, or you know, if you have a lot of gear shuffling around falling on top of it. I mean, your marker definitely isn't going to get dinged here. So when you open her up, you get these two compartments top, then these straps here holding this in. So let's start with the top portion first. So get a generic barrel sock here. Dye doesn't really brand this stuff, you know. Ever since I could remember, their barrel socks have been very generic. With the M2 I had, it just said M2 on here with the same type of barrel sock. So these are kind of an afterthought in my opinion, but it's a standard barrel sock. It will do the trick. You get a set of Allen keys here. These are not DSR or Dye branded, just a generic set of Allen keys that you'll use to maintain your marker. You have the barrel two-piece. I'm going to put this off to the side for a minute. In this slidey sheath pocket here, whatever it is, you have your warranty card. And then you have your quick start guide. So the quick start guide's pretty nice. Even though these don't come with like a full color manual, you do get this quick start guide, which will show you your arc bolt here. So the breakdown of your arc bolt, which is the new bolt that is found in the DSR. You have your O-ring diagram here, the color-coded O-rings, so you always know which ones are going to be needed to put on your bolt assembly. How to eject the back cap, some navigation through your board, your tournament lock, how to install the battery in the foregrip, adjusting your velocity here, you know, engaging air into your marker, just turning on your DSR. So the basic stuff to set you up to get your DSR up and running, so you can get out there on the field and start playing with it. And then in this front pocket here, you have your Dye Slick Lube. You have your spare parts kit here. You know, like I mentioned, color-coded O-rings, detent, extra detent. You have some screws in here, some reg seats, and then the little chart in there as well to let you know what comes in the spare parts kit. You have your data cable to do some software updates on the board, and of course your DSR. So I'm going to put this case off to the side here, get this DSR down here on the table. So before I get into the DSR, I'm going to talk about the barrel. Two-piece barrel. The tip is very reminiscent. It's probably identical to a die UL tip. Has really nice porting. Definitely going to make for a quiet shot coming out of the barrel. You know, these barrel tips are relatively expensive if you're purchasing them as an upgrade. So these are nice. And then you have the barrel back here. It is unmarked, so it is going to be a 688 bore size. There is the die logo and die branding on here, but this is very reminiscent of a proto barrel back. I think just with some die branding on it. I think for the $900 price tag, these markers definitely could have come with a die UL as opposed to this new, quote unquote, new die barrel back. But they're definitely honed rather nicely on the inside. The finish looks very nice. Two-piece, like I said, 688. So it's a good stock barrel that you're receiving with this marker. I do just wish that it came with the UL as opposed to the new, you know, UL type barrel. Forget what they are calling these. See if I can find it here. The core barrel. So it's called a core barrel, but I do think it's just very reminiscent of a proto barrel. Let's screw it onto this DSR. Let's talk about this a little bit. All right. So here is the DSR. Definitely a sharp looking marker. I do think it's very minimalistic in terms of milling. Definitely with the flat black. Just like I mentioned, a really minimalistic marker itself. Has a quick release out the back. Just push the button right here and your arc bolt slides right out. So here is your arc bolt system. It's very different from the M2 bolt. If you are familiar with the M2 Billy Wing bolt, this is a very different setup than that. These markers are supposed to operate at 115 PSI, so I'm really looking forward to shooting this because I do think it is going to be a smooth marker. The DSR does come equipped with the OLED board. As you can see right here, the OLED setup, very simple. Definitely not like the M2. The M2 was a little overcomplicated in my opinion, so this is still MOS technology. And I just think that the simple design of the OLED within the back of the grip frame as opposed to being on the side of the grip frame is a big thumbs up for me. I wasn't the biggest fan of the M2 being in the side of the grip frame. I prefer to have it in the back like this. Much simpler design, so I'm really looking forward to playing with these settings here. But the OLED is nice and bright. Seems like it's going to be easy to navigate through, so that is pretty solid in my opinion. All right, so moving forward here, you have the UL ultralight frame also found on the M2, so that is very nice. It's super comfortable in the hands. Not only that, but the grips are nice gel texture, so they can form to your hands very nicely. And your regulator, the Hyper 6 reg, which is new, is actually housed inside the grip frame as opposed to being in the foregrip. So that is really cool. I'm not going to do a maintenance video today. It will be something I plan on doing, but this is just the overview, just the initial thoughts of the marker itself. You have the new style trigger. It's not a reach trigger anymore. It's more of like a blade style trigger. I do like it. They're calling it the Edge trigger, and I think out of the box it's set up pretty nicely. It's comfortable. It has very, 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 very minimal side-to-side play. Snappy, it's responsive. I personally like that a lot. And again, this is just a front grip. It's your battery housing now. It's not a regulator anymore. So I know you should have a coin to take the battery out. I thought I had one. Hey, here we go. I have a nickel here. So let's take a look at this. So if you flip this over, you can see that there is a little plastic ring here that gives you a diagram. Left is to unlock it and right is to lock it. So you turn that to the left full 180 degrees, and then this slides right off. So here you have your battery housing, put your battery in there, and then when you installed it, this slides right back up. Whoop. Got something messed up. Hold on. Alrighty, so your battery housing, there we go, slides all the way up like so. So what I just noticed is that this piece right here has to be in the position of the unlock position, otherwise you cannot get the front grip all the way up. So that's good to note, and then you turn it and you hear that click, that's how you know it's locked. So that's your battery housing right up here, which is very nice. A couple other things to note is there are no eye covers. Dye does use the eye pipe system. They have been using this for quite some time now. So here is the eye pipe with the detent. These are plastic, but these are the M2 eye pipes. A little more durable. I think they're going to last a little longer than the original eye pipes that Dye had been using in the previous markers. I believe the 14, 15, 13, and 12, like stuff like that, had the less thick eye pipes, so they were a little more prone to breaking. A lot of it being user error, tightening the barrel down too much, but sometimes they did just break, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily like them. Some people do. I think it's a proven system. I think that these eye pipes, especially found in the DSR and the M2, are a lot thicker, so I do think they're going to take a little bit more abuse. So, you know, it's a good system to have in your marker. You're spending $900, so you definitely want it to be as reliable as possible. So that's nice. Little things to note, there is the airport on-off ASA here. Not the biggest fan of these ASAs. I don't like how the lever is on the side. I prefer something on the bottom like a Bob Long cam drive, or like the Raps ASAs or the Lux ASAs. I do prefer that to the airport on-offs, but they are a nice ASA. I mean, they're expensive ASAs if you wanted to add them to some type of build or a marker that you were upgrading, so to speak. So they're definitely not cheap, just not my personal favorite. And then some other notable things to mention is that the body, the frame to the body is actually a wireless connection. So when you unscrew these, you want to take the frame off to get into your body. There is no wires like from the Noid or anything like that. It just comes off, which is really cool. A lot of markers have been doing this. I know the CS1 had done this, and MacDev markers do this, but it's definitely a good thing to put into the markers coming out now, because it just makes it very simplistic and easy to do maintenance. And I honestly think a lot of that stuff is really notable to mention. V-neck is lever clamping. Not the biggest fan of the V-neck, just because, as you can see, it does swivel. I would prefer just something to be stationary. I don't know why it swivels like that. I know the M2 does that, and the Lux Ice does it as well. That's just a personal gripe. Some people might not mind it. I don't mind it. It's just not ideal. I'd rather it just being a stationary V-neck. But overall, in the hands, I mean, I think this marker feels great. So let's get this tilted back up here. There we go. So like I mentioned, I think in the hands, this marker feels really good. There's definitely enough space to wrap your thumb over top or underneath for it to be comfortable. It feels really nice, like pointing downfield. Super ergonomically friendly with the UL frame. It just fits really nicely in your hands. Yeah, so that's my first initial impressions of the DSR, guys. I mean, I really like it. I think it feels really good in the hands. I like the trigger. It's nice and lightweight. It points nicely downfield. I definitely think it sits a little taller than the M2, but I find it to be comfortable. I mean, I think the foregrip's comfortable. The foregrip here, as you can see, it's thin and it looks long, but when you're wrapping your hand around it, it's actually comfortable. I mean, it fits really nicely in your hands. Like I mentioned, the grips have a nice gel texture. So I like this, guys. My first impression is that this is a very nice, comfortable marker. I'm going to take it outside to shoot it, just to see what I think of it, if it's smooth, compared to some other markers. So I have a bunch of markers with me. I have my Ripper Vis, my Lux Ice, I have a Shocker XLS. Those are brand new, same price, $8.99, so that's definitely going to be a good comparison. I have an RSX, I have a G-Tech 160R, another competing marker in that mid-range price point. And I have the M2. I have my M2 with me, so we're going to see how well does the DSR stack up with its older brother, so to speak, or that $1,500 price point, or 14 or 15, whatever they are, compared to the $900 retail price point of the DSR. So stay tuned to that. I'll get some stuff set up outside and we'll go shoot this. All right. All right, guys, so here we are in my backyard. Let's show you what we have here. So we have the DSR, the M2, the Shocker XLS, and the G-Tech 160R. We have some Empire Evil paint that we are going to be shooting. Let's see if I can get this set up here. Okay. Yes, so like I mentioned, we have some Empire Evil paint. Probably going to set this up so you can see the kick of each marker. I'm not shooting too far down my backyard because I don't have that big of a backyard. But both tank output pressures are right around 450 psi. Like I mentioned, we're shooting some Empire Evil, the XLS, the G-Tech, and the M2. So let's check out the DSR first. We'll check out the sound signature, see how it shoots. Gas this up. Excellent. Turn it on. It's 299. It's 296. That didn't register, I didn't hold it. It's 296. It's 298. So right out of the box, we're at ±3. That's very consistent for a marker that is literally right out of the box. So yeah, let's shoot it. I'm going to hold it up, see if I can get it on a good angle to where you can see the barrel rise. See if I can tilt this down. Here, let's try that. Not very jumpy. So we're still sitting right around that like 295 mark, which is, it's still very consistent. That was a ±4 over that chrono. But for shooting around 300 FPS, this is very smooth. Very, very smooth. So let me finish this off. That was it for the DSR. So the first impression of that shot quality, like I said, we were ±4 over that chrono, right around the 295 to 300 range. My field limit is 280, so something shooting like that at 300, I'm really impressed based off of the price tag and the factor that this is the quote-unquote mid-range marker. So that's very impressive to me. So let's put that off to the side. Let's compare it with the G-Tech 160R. Let's get some more paint. So I had just moved up here in New Jersey, so I'm a little not concerned, a little nervous about shooting it. I don't know what the laws are compared to Pennsylvania, but it's pretty quiet in my area, so I'm hoping I'm not really pissing off my neighbors. And I hope the cops aren't called on me, but let's continue. Alright, so we have the G-Tech. Gas that up. Excellent. Let's turn this on and chrono it, see where we're sitting compared to the DSR, and we'll get some side-by-side shot comparison between the two. So this is shooting a little hot, so I'm going to turn this down. So that's better. It's not as consistent as the DSR was, but we're still shooting in that 290 to 300 range. We were plus or minus around 7 or 8 with that. Now, note, this G-Tech has about 80,000 shots on it. So for the DSR to be that consistent out of the box, shooting at that chrono speed compared to this G-Tech that has, you know, like I said, 80K on it, 40 cases on it, I'm super impressed with this DSR so far. I mean, shot quality, they're very similar. But yeah, to have that significant amount of shot difference, for it to be that close in shot quality, actually, I would consider less on the DSR, but less, you know, barrel rise or kick, so to speak. But let's get these next to each other and see what happens. Thinking of how I should do this. Alright, so let's do the G-Tech first. And the DSR. G-Tech. DSR. Another G-Tech. Another DSR. So, right off the bat, noticeably, I could hear that the DSR has a softer shot, or I can feel the DSR having a softer shot. And the shot sound signature is more of a softer, like a shot, as opposed to the thud that you hear in that G-Tech. At least from what I'm hearing right now, I do feel like the DSR has a nicer shot quality to it. Now, the G-Tech is at a retail price point of, I think, $700 new now. I know they were $800 when they came out, and like I mentioned, that the DSR is $899. So let's put some more paint through these. I'm going to shoot the G-Tech and then I'll shoot the DSR so you can kind of see a stream sound signature difference between the two. I think my batteries are dead. Yeah. So the batteries are dead in my prophecy. That stinks. But let me take my Spire 3 off. We'll get these switched. And then I'll just use my Spire for the rest of the video. Just 1 second here. Alrighty. Alright, so let's finish the G-Tech off. You can hear, just based off of what I'm hearing right now, it's definitely a higher sound, like a hotter sound signature, even though it's shooting around the same FPS. It's a little jumpier, and it's definitely louder than the DSR is. But let's finish this. So that was finished there with the G-Tech. Like I had mentioned, this has close to 90,000 shots on it now. For the DSR to have literally maybe 100 shots through it at this point, having this being a softer sound signature and a little more consistent right out of the box says a lot for the performance of the marker so far. So let's get this spire off of here, degas the G-Tech. Perfect. And I will use the same tank that I'm using on the G-Tech on the shocker, because the XLS here is also brand new. This is also a brand new marker, so shooting this out of the box, I'm hoping that we get the same consistency. Really interested to seeing how this sound signature is, and yeah, we'll definitely find out. But let's get my spire on here. Ooh, yeah, lever is tight. There we go. Here we go. Get some paint in this. Alright. Let's get my mask on. Like I mentioned, this is brand new out of the box as well. This feels good too. So let's see. Ooh, that's low. 244, 250, 246, 243, 241. So, I don't know. There we go. So this is shooting low. So let's adjust this. No wonder why it was shooting so smooth when I put those first couple shots through it. Come on. There we go. 37, 240, 241, still low. Maybe because I'm going the wrong way. Duh. Try that. Getting there. Getting there. Maybe another full turn will get us where we need. That sounds good. That's perfect. So we were right at 290 on those shots. So let's shoot this. Need some more paint. Alright, so sound signature wise, it's definitely louder than the DSR, and it does sound louder than the G-Tech, but I don't feel as much kickback with the shocker as opposed to the G-Tech. I still feel like the DSR does have a smoother shot and smoother sound signature to it. But let's finish this out. Alrighty. So now that the shocker's fresh in our head, I'm going to throw the hopper right back on the DSR real quick and put a couple through this just so you can hear it again for the comparison between the two. still super consistent. So you heard the DSR one more time compared to the XLS. I do, again, think that the DSR sound signature is nicer than both the G-Tech and the XLS. When it comes to shot quality, I still find the DSR to be superior to both of them. With that said, the XLS is definitely a nice shooting marker. That's the first time I've shot that, and I do think it shoots very nice. So let's do one more here with the M2. So this is definitely going to be the true test in terms of sound signature, because the M2 obviously is the more expensive, higher end marker in the dye product line. So let's see how this shoots. I haven't shot this yet, so I guess we'll find out. So this is shooting a little hot. It's shooting around 300, in between 300 and like 310. So I don't seem to have an Allen key that's going to work with this, which is very strange. Come on. Alright, so we're just going to leave it as is because I don't feel like fighting with it. But so please keep that in mind. The M2 is shooting on the higher side of 300 to like between 300 and 310. So you know, all aside, sound signature wise, since it was shooting hot, I do think that it won't be as loud, obviously, moving forward when I turn that velocity down. But with that said, I do think the DSR sound signature wise just sounds super good for shooting, you know, 295 feet per second. So we'll finish it off with the DSR shooting. And then I'll wrap it up. Alright guys, so there you have it. That was a quick shooting comparison between the mid-level markers that are right around the same price point as the DSR, you know, that $899 price tag in the XLS and the DSR, that $700 price tag with the G-Tech. My personal preference compared to all four markers that I just shot, including the M2 at that $1,400 price tag, was the DSR. I thought the sound signature was the quietest. I thought the shot actually was the softest, and then the XLS actually beat out the M2. I know the M2 was shooting around 310, so that will change once I turn that velocity down, but I'm really impressed with these $900 markers, guys. I mean, really nice. But overall, in my opinion, I think the DSR had the softest shot, this quietest sound signature, and the most consistent over the chronograph, which is really big as well. But I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. I definitely want to do an efficiency test. I'll do that tomorrow. We'll do some maintenance on this marker a little later, and we'll wrap up this Super Gun Show shortly. Please stay tuned. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Bye-bye. Hey, what's up, guys? Lou here again with the Dye DSR, coming at you to do an efficiency test. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my tank filled to a full 4,500 fill. My SL77 is sitting right at 4K, so we'll just do an efficiency video based off of 4K PSI, 77 cubic inch tank, running a 450 output pressure on my Ninja Pro regulator. I have a pod caddy that's full hopper, and then 3 additional pods. I don't think we're going to get through that much, but let's see what happens. Set to NXL 12.5, stock barrel 688, shooting some, field quality paint. We are gassed up, turned on. That was 273. It's 284. It's 270. I don't know if you can see that. 278. 279. 283. 279. So right around that 275 to 280 range. Most field limits around me are of that. So let's do it. The shot was still at 282. Still 270, 280. That 270, 280 range still. Let's try to finish off this camera here. So that's empty. Whoop. There we go. Start to hear it a little bit. Still hitting 280 mark. So that's empty. Still sitting at 1,000 PSI. Pod number 1. Still shooting in that 280 range. Pod number 2. Hear it now, a little dying off a little bit. 277, 78, 71, 79, 63, 75. Little jumpy, but it's probably the paint to bore match. Pot number 3. Alright, there it is. 274, 63. Still hitting 270. I mean, that's still playable paintball. 250, 278, 271, 69. That's 250 again. Ooh, there it is. Where are we at now? 192. So that's where I would stop it. I have maybe 10 paintballs in here, so I'm just going to shoot these out. Yeah, these last ones are unplayable, so. Alright. So that's not bad, guys. This is 77.45 on a full pod caddy. That's 2 bags, that's 1,000. And then 3 additional pods of 140. That's, oh my God, this is such bad math on my end. That's 380 and 40 is 420, I think. So that's 1,420 shots on a 77 4K fill. Would anticipate that extra 500 PSI, maybe getting another pod out of that. That's not bad for, you know, this mid-range spool valve marker. This tank is run completely dry, and at the end you could see that those last 10 really weren't playable. So, but still, I mean, that's a full caddy and 3 pods. That's pretty awesome. I don't feel like doing that math in my head, but you guys can figure it out. So, you know, caddy, 3 pods, whatever. Pretty awesome. I'm really impressed by the Dye DSR. I mean, that thing shot, it shoots smooth. It was relatively consistent over that chrono, and I didn't see a drop in that velocity until maybe the last like 20 shots in my Spire. That's when that stream really died, and you heard that like just completely die off. And that's when we dropped under 200 on the chrono. But up until that point, we were still in that 250, 260. That's a playable paintball. That can still break on somebody if you're not, you know, long balling on somebody. But yeah, guys, there it is. Dye DSR 7745, 4K fill, 450 output pressure, 1 caddy, 3 pods. Thank you. Hey guys, so I wanted to conclude this DSR video with a general and just a quick maintenance of the bolt and the regulator, and then just my final thoughts on the DSR itself. So as you can see, I already removed the grips, sitting right here, but in order to do that, there are 2 screws, which are actually recessed into the frame and the grips. There's these little silver ones here. In the grips here, there's a hole here and a hole right there, same spot, which is located right there, and same side right there. So you just unscrew those, and then it's the same exact thing. Once those are unscrewed with the UL frame, you pull up and you turn down and they will pop off, and you can remove them all the way around the grip frame in order to access your DSR. But I would like to start with the bolt maintenance, so take that out, put the DSR just off to the side real quick. Alright, so here is your arc bolt, and I'm just going to do a general maintenance, just a general lubing on this real quick. I ran this pretty dry today, so definitely could use it. Let's unscrew the can first. With the bolt, just push down, bolt will come right out. Now for this part here, there is the latch that holds the bolt assembly inside the marker. What I like to do and what I recommend is holding this down, because if you don't and you unscrew this, this has the possibility of just flying out. So I would hold that down and then just unscrew the rest of the bolt assembly from the back cap, as so, which leaves you with this piece here. So to get this stem out, originally when I did this, I needed a wrench actually to hold this piece in order for me to unscrew this, but now that I had loosened it, I can just unscrew it with my hand. This stem will come out. There is a black O-ring there that I will end up lubing. This is not Loctited in, so once you probably break it, loose the first time, you most likely will be able to do it with your hand for the rest of the time, not needing a wrench or something like that. But now that I have this apart, I'm going to go ahead and lube it and put it back together. So I will start with this piece here. I just use some Slick Lube, it's Dow 33, white base Dow 33 light. A generous amount normally, what I like to give to all of my spool valve markers. When I'm lubing up the O-rings and I do a check, I don't like to see any gaps within the creases. I do like I had mentioned, to give them a generous amount of lube, so they're not, getting any first shot drop off right away. But yeah, so lube that up, grab some more here, and I lube this O-ring here. What's nice about the die markers, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the color-coded O-rings, it just makes it so easy to diagnose issues and replace an O-ring right away on the fly, just knowing like what color that you have to grab. You put it right in the space where it needs to go, and you could be on your way. Like I had mentioned previously earlier in the video, that the color-coded O-rings I think tend to wear out earlier, but I do think that's a good system if they could perfect it a little bit in terms of having them last a little longer than they do. I think that would be a real winner, personally. Lube that up, and then it's just a little more on this yellow O-ring up front here. Awesome, so that's done. Put that off to the side. Do the can. So there is an orange inner O-ring here that I'll like to get first. Let's give that a good amount of lube. And the green O-ring right on top. Again, just a generous amount for the spool valve here. And then there is this green O-ring on the back of the can, loop up as well. Excellent. So that is done. Get a little more for the bolt here. Just throw lube on the 2 orange and the purple O-ring right here. Perfect. Alright, and before I assemble this again, just these last 2 O-rings, this yellow guy on the bolt stem and the black guy back here. Perfect. I'll wipe my hands real quick. I'll put this back together. So we'll start with the bolt, the can. This will just pop right in like that. And then the bolt stem here will just screw back into this portion right here. I feel like that might be able to go in a little bit more, so I'm going to grab my rag here. Just a tool, see if I can tighten that down a little bit. There we go. Tighten that down a little bit. I don't recommend using pliers because they do have the serrated edges. I would recommend a wrench if you have to use a tool to either tighten that or break that loose. But now that that is on, you can screw the can onto the rest of the assembly, just like so. And then your back cap, again, holding this down, slide this in. And then you could screw this right back on to the rest of the bolt. And that's it, guys. That's basic maintenance for your DSR arc bolt. So I'm going to put this back into the marker here. Perfect. And let's talk about the regulator. So there are 2 screws that you need to remove. One here, at the bottom, it's a black screw. And then another, same screw, same placement on the other side. Alrighty. Now there is an O-ring at the top of the regulator, so it doesn't just slide right out. You do need to give it a quick pull with a little bit of force. So I'll put the DSR off to the side again. In order to break this loose, I did tighten it with the Allen key, but grab your Allen key. See what size this is real quick. This is a 5/32 Allen key. So 5/32 goes right inside the top of the reg, and you just turn it, come loose, and you can just unscrew it. So inside this you have your spring and your piston. Remove that. See if I can get this with my hand real quick. Come on. I really don't want to resort to needle nose pliers, but I might grab them if I can't get this in a minute. It's coming. Come on. I really hate doing this, but just for the sake of speeding things up. There we go. Just slide it out a little bit. Grab the rest with my hand. So here is your piston. There's nothing else in this cap. And then underneath this housing, which I have to be careful with because I dropped it the last time. There we go. So you have your reg seat down in here, and then an O-ring right on this. So give these a quick wipe down here. Let's get this excess lube off of that, and then on your piston as well. Alrighty, so now that that's wiped off, I'll grab my grease again, just a general thick amount to coat this. You don't want to cake too much of it on, but just enough, again, to fill in the cracks so you see white as opposed to space. A general decent amount of lube, but again, not too much where you're just caking it on. So that's pretty good. And then just a teeny bit more for the green O-ring right here. There we go. Awesome. Rub that in a little bit more. Cool. So now that that is lubed, it's about all you have to do for that, guys. So this will go face down like so. Put my piston and spring back in this cap here, and then make sure, there we go, make sure that this is sitting inside the piston stem, is sitting inside this hole right here. Screw it on. So that's hand tight, and then what I like to do is just grab that Allen key, the 5/32, and just tighten it down just a little bit. And then for the red O-ring, right on top, just grab a teeny little bit more lube and throw it right on there. Alright guys, so once you're done with that, you can put it right back into your DSR here, like so. You hear that click, means that O-ring is secure. Grab your screws, throw them back into the frame. So I'm going to get these grips on, and then I will come back for the conclusion. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so let's finish up with my conclusion on the DSR here, now that I got the grips back on the marker. So, I really like this marker. I put it through a decent test today. You know, got a lot of paint through it. Well, not a lot of paint, but a decent amount of paint through it. I didn't have a single hiccup with it. It shot consistently all day. I didn't have any issues with the marker with a little bit of rain. I'm just really, really I really like the marker. I think the board is relatively easy to navigate through. I like the arc bolt assembly a lot. I didn't have any issues with the eye pipe. My battery seemed to last a long time, as you saw from the efficiency video. I got decent numbers coming out of it. I mean, overall, I'm just really, really excited about this. I had a really good day with it. It was super comfortable, super easy to shoot. I'm definitely, you know, interested in keeping it, taking it out more, really putting it through an abuse test, and just putting some good numbers on this marker. I mean, I was very, very excited to get it in, and now I can say that I'm excited to have it in my gear bag, because the marker is very nice, very comfortable, relatively efficient for a spool, shoots quiet, shoots nice, consistent over the chronograph out of the box. I think if you wanted to pick one of these up, you would be very happy about it. I really like the DSR. I'm a really big fan of it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys watching this video. As mentioned in the beginning of the video, links will be in the description for Ryan DeRose and his contact information for Inglorious Paintball, the team I play for, the team that a lot of people should watch out for. Ryan, the owner, definitely can help you out if you're looking for new or used merchandise. The brand new DSR, go grab one through him. You will not be disappointed. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.